There's a common misconception that when it comes to money, we either are not taught or we forget that we're actually rich already. We have so much abundance in our lives. And when it comes to financial abundance, we can get there too. Welcome to the podcast. So if you've been struggling with feeling like you do and have enough money, or you're just getting started on your journey of creating wealth, this episode is for you. It's about something else entirely. So stick around and let's explore this together. Today's episode is all about debunking the idea that your money block isn't really about money. And after a few sessions, we realized that he was very judgmental towards himself. When we think we have a money block, we usually think that it's because we need to learn something more about money, that we need to shift our mindset, that we need to start thinking differently about money. But what if it's something else entirely? What if it's something like, and that was stemming from his relationship with his father, who was extremely critical. And so, the fear of his father's judgment was still within him. So it's important to get curious about what money means to you, what it brings up for you, what thoughts and feelings come up when you think about money, because those thoughts and feelings are usually the root of our money blocks. They're not always conscious, but they're definitely there. This is where the work of Louise Hay comes in handy. It's about your relationship with money. It's about the beliefs you hold about money. What is coming up for me when I think about money? And once you figure that out, once you dive into that, that's where your money block is. And when you start to understand that, when you start to work on that, when you start to heal that, that's when the money starts to flow. She has this affirmation for money that says, I easily and effortlessly attract money and abundance into my life. It's about something else entirely. And when you start to understand that, that's when you can start to move forward and start to attract more money into your life. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. It's about something else. It's about your relationship with money. It's about your beliefs around money. And if you'd like more support on your spiritual journey, please know that I have a free newsletter where I send out weekly spiritual guidance, as well as information on upcoming courses and events. You can find that in the description below. And when you start to understand that, that's when you can start to move forward. Another one is, money flows to me easily and effortlessly. Sometimes they're also about our actions. Are you taking inspired action towards your goals? Are you doing the work? Are you putting in the effort? Or are you just sitting around waiting for money to fall from the sky? That's another thing to consider when you're looking at your money blocks. It could be that you're not taking the right actions. Say these affirmations every day. Write them down. Put them all over your mirror. Make them a part of your daily routine. Because the more you repeat these affirmations, the more you start to believe them. And when you start to believe them, you start to see changes in your financial situation. And he was projecting that onto money. He was saying, if I have a lot of money, then people will judge me and I won't be good enough. And that's why you can't surrender and allow money to flow into your life. Start asking yourself, is this belief really true? Where did this belief come from? Maybe you had a family member who told you that money was hard to come by. Or maybe you saw your parents struggling financially and that's why your belief that money is scarce came from. Whatever it is, it's important to become aware of where these beliefs come from because they're not true. They read just things that we've been told or we've experienced in the past, and we've made them into rules for how money works. It could be about perfectionism. You might feel like you need to plan everything out perfectly and execute it perfectly in order for you to make money. Or it could be about some kind of fear of scarcity. Maybe you grew up in a family where money was scarce, and now you're re-carrying that belief that money is scarce, and that SYUKUN seem to get enough of it. The point is, it's important to look deeper, and that was why he couldn't attract more money into his life. It wasn't a lack of knowledge, it wasn't a lack of ideas, it wasn't a lack of manifestation practice. Limiting beliefs are thoughts that we think are true, but they're not really true. They're just things that we believe to be true. For example, money is hard to come by, or rich people are greedy, or I am not good with money. These are all limiting beliefs that can keep us stuck when it comes to money. It was a lack of self-worth, it was a deep-seated belief that he wasn't worthy of having more money. I had this one client. He was an amazing guy. He reached out to me because he wanted to become a millionaire by the time he's 30, and he was already in his mid-20s. And he hadn't gotten there yet, and he felt so much pressure because he really wanted to make it happen. He thought that he needed more money, he needed more knowledge, he needed to read more books on how to attract money, he needed to do more manifestation, work on money, and he just felt stuck. And when we started working together, the first thing I did was I sat him down and I said, let's just explore where these beliefs around money come from. And we started looking at his childhood and what his relationship with money was like growing up. And what we discovered was that he didn't really have any negative beliefs around money itself. He didn't grow up in poverty. His parents weren't poor. But what we discovered was that he had a strong belief that he was unworthy of having a lot of money. That if he were to have a lot of money, then people would think less of him. And he was scared of being judged by other people. We spent some time exploring that belief and where that came from and how that was impacting his life. Now, this is a perfect example of how our blocks aren't always what we think they are. So here are 4 reasons why your money block isn't about money. No, and it could be about control. You might feel like you need to have a lot of control over everything in your life. When we look at the word money, it usually brings up a bunch of different feelings and thoughts and beliefs that we may not even be aware of. The next step is to identify what your limiting beliefs around money are. Once you've identified your limiting beliefs around money, the next step is to start questioning them. The fourth step is to start affirming new beliefs around money. What you have to remember is that your money block isn't about money. It's about something else. If you're struggling with attracting more money into your life, I want you to ask yourself, what am I afraid of? Another thing to consider is that sometimes our blocks aren't just about our subconscious beliefs. If you're feeling stuck when it comes to money, please know that it's not about money. So, my question for you is, what do you think your money block is? What do you think it's really about? Leave a comment below and let me know. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode has helped you to see that your money block isn't really about money.